Elon Musk has released part 4 of the Twitter files, and the focus of the most recent batch of documents is on President Trump and how the social media platform really just was looking for any excuse to kick him off.
Yeah, knowing that this was a very big moment, it's independent journalist Michael Schellenberger who published this filing here. He says Twitter's former head of trust and safety, Yoel Roth, a name we're hearing about so much now, writing here, January 7th, 2021. Guess what Jack just approved? Repeat offender for civic integrity.
Now, a colleague then writes, progress. Does this affect our approach to Trump, who I think we publicly said had one remaining strike, or does the incitement to violence aspect change that calculus? So you can see here a few people who all thought the same way, had the power to censor the President of the United States, the leader of the free world, Bianca.
Wow, yeah, it's stunning. Someone says this to Roth about Trump's account. Here it says, Jack says, we will permanently suspend if our policies violated after a 12-hour account lock. What policies is Jack talking about? So it certainly sounds like Jack Dorsey knew about the censorship despite his congressional testimony to the contrary, which we played a little while ago.
And the question is, when did he know exactly? Joining us now to discuss this is former California Congressman Devin Nunes. He's also the CEO of Trump Media and Technology Group. Great to have you with us, Congressman.
Devin.
Always a pleasure to be with you. Great Monday morning.
All right, I want to go back specifically to 2018. Jack Dorsey testifying before Congress under oath. You were still in Congress. Take a listen to this exchange between he and Pennsylvania Senator Congressman Mike Doyle.
Social media is being rigged to censor conservatives. Is that true of Twitter?
No.
I don't know what Twitter is up to. It sure looks like to me that they're censoring people, and they ought to stop it. Are you censoring people?
No.
Twitter shadow banning prominent Republicans. It's bad. Is that true?
No.
Pretty simple there with those answers, but now we know that wasn't the case. Now, either he didn't know what was going on at his own company or he was lying. Which one do you think is the case?
Yeah, well, what's interesting about that take is that was a Democrat. So clearly what had happened is either the Democrats working with the Twitter execs probably planted those questions because they went out of their way. They wanted to clarify this. They wanted to get this out of the public realm and basically make it into that this was some kind of conspiracy theory that conservatives were being banned or shadow banned. And John, Bianca, that happened to be me. So I was one. It was myself, Matt Gaetz, Mark Meadows, and Jim Jordan, all very prominent, well-known people that were in the news at that time that had been shadow banned. And it wasn't us who figured that out. It was actually a center-left tech magazine that figured that out. That had just come public earlier that year, as I recall. So the fact that they went out of their way to get those questions on the record, I'm sure there's other questions that happened during that hearing that I think are also insightful. Now, the question is, clearly we've all known about this. There's been plenty of circumstantial evidence, but what's clear here now is this is the first time we have direct evidence of this actually happening. And look, this is plain and simple lying and misleading Congress. Now, I'm not going to hold my breath and wait for Biden's Department of Justice to bring an indictment, but it once again will show that there's a two-tier justice system in this country, that if you are supported by the left or you're seen as a left-wing person, lie all you want, right? I mean, we can go through all of the people that have lied to Congress throughout the whole Russiagate hoax over and over and over again, lied or misled Congress, never brought for prosecution. And then, of course, you have people that got brought up for lying to Congress who, in my mind, didn't even lie to Congress. The most notable one would be Roger Stone, who got busted for lying to Congress.
But the thing is,
they probably never thought, like the way you frame it, if that was deliberate or intentional for him to be able to say no on the record, they never thought any of this would be exposed then, The
other hand, too, is you and Congressman Gaetz, and I don't want to leave anybody else on that list of, you guys were elected by your constituents. You hold a public office. I know Twitter's a private company, but when the direct communication between the FBI and these social media companies are happening, and certain members from one political party that have been elected by their constituents through a constitutional process are being silenced, that just sends us into a whole other realm of... And
by a handful of people, like, Yoel Roth and Vijaya Garde, Jack, who we know is Jack Dorsey. I mean, it's not like there was any type of, they were deciding, I guess, the arbiters of free speech. Final 30 seconds here, Devin, just now that we're hearing all this.
So just the final point that I would make on that is yes, now we also have the smoking guns or direct evidence that the FBI was coordinating directly with these tech companies. At least we have that as it relates to Twitter. And we would have never known this had Elon Musk not paid $44 billion to go buy all this. And we're still waiting for a clean dump of all the documents. I think that's going to be critical so that news outlets like Newsmax can comb through all the documents.
It is a lot to digest.
Yeah.
And I would just say the final point that's important here. No one's talking about the big elephant in the room is what about Facebook and Instagram that have far more users than Twitter ever dreamed of having? Nobody's talking about that. Donald Trump is still banned on there. Millions of other Americans have been shadow banned. Yeah. No one's talking about that, and Congress is going to have to get to the bottom of it.
Both owned by Meta and Zuckerbucks, as we also know him as. So, Deb, we got to leave it there, but always great to have you in. Thanks so much. We really enjoyed it and great perspective, especially on what's happening today.